She's Carmen.
And he's Joe,
And we are
the sexy, happy couple. And this is
Sexy Healthy Cooking.
your go-to show for plant-based food. We are vegans, which means we eat a plant-based diet.
Carmen is a very talented chef, and she's going to make us some food today. We also like to have a guest star from the adult entertainment industry to talk a little bit about food and lifestyle and other topics that come up. The wonderful Lauren Phillips. Hey. Will Pounder.
Great to see you.
Tyler Nixon.
Thanks for coming.
Great to see you.
Wonderful.
The fantastic Sofie Marie. Damon Dice.
Good.
The one and only Mia Malkova. And Annie Mountain. India Summer. Nina Hartley. Great to see you.
I love cooking. I'm a lifelong cook.
So what are we preparing today?
Today I am going to be making green chili chicken enchiladas. We are going to make vegan crab cakes. Kung Pao Cod.
I love Kung Pao.
Sweet and smoky soy curl vegan pizza.
That sounds yummy. I can't wait to try.
Seitan steak medallions to be used in a Philly cheesesteak recipe.
Out of plant food.
Out of plant.
Get out of here, come down.
People are often pleasantly surprised. They're skeptical and then they find that, wow, this is not all bad.
Ooh,
That's
that
what I'm
looks so
talking
good.
about.
And you know, wine is vegan, so I'm gonna get us a little of that for our show.
I do like wine.
Excellent.
I can do, that's my part. I can pour wine, so she does all the rest.
I do all the rest.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Okay, so I'm going to just pour this nearly boiling water into the soy curls, and it takes about 10 minutes for them to get hydrated.
It's good to be hydrated.
Yes.
I imagine on the set, you really do need to stay hydrated, and it can be a long day. And what do you do for food?
It just depends on the set, technically. Like usually I have coffee because I'm a huge coffee drinker. And then I bring like little snacks. So I try to stay as healthy as possible, but if you're on set for a long period of time and you see like the Doritos and Cheetos all around, it can be a little harder.
I'm a huge Doritos fan, but Doritos are not vegan.
They're not.
No.
Had to give them up.
But we have found a vegan version
Yeah?
that are like Doritos. So that satisfies me. We have those infrequently because, yes, they're not terribly healthy. So in honor of Damon being from Maryland, we are going to make crab cakes today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so vegan crab cakes.
And you do have a cooking background too.
Yes, I do.
That is really, we didn't plan that, but it worked out that way.
I grew up in a family of chefs and grill masters, and I have a degree in hospitality management. So took a bunch of cooking classes and culinary classes in college. I was actually a chef before I got into the adult industry. So
Wow. So now with your work, do you get any time to cook anymore?
I do. Not as much as I would like to, because I'm always like, on the road traveling, so that's really inhibits my cooking. I usually do meal preps. So like if I'm home on the weekend and I'm working all week, I'll cook. Like I'll spend, 4 hours cooking. I'll make all my food for the week. So I have it all ready, so I don't have to cook throughout the week, and it's all in Tupperwares and ready to go.
Yeah, we do a lot of cooking on the weekends and then freeze
that's
it
the
and eat
time.
it.
Yep.
Will, I gotta ask you, how do you get the right food at the right time? And that must be something you really gotta think through.
Well, I'm a big fan of the blood type diet, personally. So I'm a O blood type, and it's interesting when I started studying that, my favorite foods actually correlated with what was really good for that. And I was a big fan of grass-fed, grass-finished beef.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go out there and hunt something and eat it myself, because that's like the best quality you can get. But if it's not grass-fed, grass-finished, then it doesn't have a high amount of omega-3s in it. And that is a very important aspect for O blood types.
Do you get like enough breaks in your work to get the food you need, or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, after you're done with one scene, before you move on to the next, you just got a little bit of downtime. So
Okay, yeah, I'm recharged, so to speak.
Right.
So Sofie, you're very athletic and you
Yes.
have a job that keeps you moving. So do you have any special food routines that you follow?
Food. Well, I do gluten-free. I try and eat my veggies for the most part, and that's about it. Kind of low carbs, high protein diet, and gluten-free. And every once in a while, I kind of go off the deep end, eating a pizza, but again, back to the gluten-free.
okay.
So and bison and chicken, and so I try and eat healthy most needs.
How about like on a shoot? I mean, it's a long day.
Yes, it is.
Is there any meal in there or?
No, just snacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like protein shakes and what else? Like some almonds, a piece of cheese. I kind of like to eat every couple hours.
Yeah.
Snacks more. And then once in a while at night, I'll eat a bigger meal, which is probably not good before you go to bed, but that's how I do it. So the key is to just process it long enough so that it's nice and creamy and has really the texture of mayonnaise. Okay?
Wow. So Tyler, you're working a lot. You're on sets all day. What kind of food regimen do you use?
I don't eat too much. I have a smoothie in the morning that kind of lasts me most of the day until I have a salad. And then usually another salad at night with some chicken.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're a big salad guy.
I am. And yeah, I kind of find what I like and simple. I eat the same thing over and over again.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So easily satisfied, it sounds like.
Yeah, but although I love food, and that looks like hummus that I kind of want to dip my finger
You
into.
can
Yeah.
Check it out.
check it out.
Taste this. That's good.
Yeah.
That was
see?
really good, actually.
Yeah, and it's super low fat, unlike, regular mayonnaise, which tends to have quite a bit of fat.
So Nina, food.
Yes.
What are your favorite foods? I mean, we don't necessarily make people be vegan on our show. We know that.
Well, I like good food, so if it's good food, I will absolutely. I'm not against.
Kind of like good sex.
Well, yeah, some people, I don't do vegan. I the principle is like, but you haven't even tried it.
Yes.
So for me, vegan food, like any food, there are good and bad versions of all food.
Yes.
There's tasty, healthy versions of traditional carnivore diets, like game and things that were raised in the outside, and then there's fast food, right? So there is vegan food that's like really seriously you didn't even try, and then there's something like this. I'm German background, so I like anything schnitzel. I like schnitzel, I like noodles. But I also don't forget, I grew up in a Zen temple, so anything Japanesey is fine with me. I like anything Asian, totally fine with Asian food.
Oh.
And there's very few cuisines I don't like. If it's super spicy, it's like vindaloo curry. I'm a white girl.
Not much.
Yeah.
So no ghost peppers, no serrano peppers, but I like sriracha.
I love
just-
sriracha.
Yeah, sriracha.
Now, when you're working, how do you schedule food? Because the set, you're.
Well, I've learned to bring my own food because depending on. So back in the day, we were if you did long enough, you got pizza or El Pollo Loco or other chain restaurants. And I just started in the last few years and just stopped being movies and started being scenes.
Yeah.
Then I bring my own lunch.
I really do enjoy eating.
Oh, well, nice. So do we. Now that must get interesting with your work because you got
It can be a
long
problem.
days and you don't want to be all filled up. And,
Yeah, it can be a problem in all sorts of ways. So yeah, being on set a very long time, and I myself don't really like to eat before I have actual sex.
Right.
So sometimes it can be 12 hours before I've gotten to eat anything.
Oh boy.
So I really just try and sustain. Sometimes a Coca-Cola with some sugar to get me by and keep my energy up, or the nasty little Red Bulls. And then when I'm done, I will eat anything that is in sight.
Aha.
Anything.
All right. I don't do any cooking really. What's that like in your household? Do you help out with that, or who's doing?
Neither one of us really cook.
So you did take away or eat out?
Yeah, we go to Whole Foods.
We get
Oh,
Whole Foods a lot, so.
You must be busy. I mean, long days.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
So
And
how many days a week do you work?
Me? Typically 3 or 4.
Okay.
I'm more like 4, 5, 6 days a week.
It always changes though.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how long is a typical day for you?
Well, I always have to be there earlier because I have to be in
Yeah.
hair and makeup and I have to do the stills and everything beforehand. So usually I end up there at 8 and then I leave anywhere from 5 to 7. Yeah.
Probably don't feel like going home and doing a lot of cooking.
Yeah. And then my days off, I don't feel like
It all
cooking.
depends on what companies you're working for, and you know, and whether you're shooting a feature or a gonzo. I love those gonzo days.
So what do you do on your days off?
We go hiking, go to the beach, go karting.
I'm a homebody,
Yeah, she's
so
a
I like the grocery store.
She likes reading her books, and we watch black and white movies. And
Oh, what's your, what black and white?
Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, the classics.
I got him to watch The Way We Were the other night.
Yeah.
But it's not black and white, but that's actually the first romantic movie I got you to watch in months.
In months, yeah. Because I put in my time already.
I've seen every gangster movie there.
So how did you pick your name?
Actually, Lauren Phillips is my real name.
Oh, no kidding.
So technically, I didn't pick it.
Wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Right. Right. Well, that's interesting because Danny Mountain
That's his real name.
is his real name too. There's not many people who have their real names.
It kind of fits kind of who I am, so I didn't really want to change it. And
Yeah.
my whole persona, I guess you would say, or my branding is like a lot of people like Lauren Phillips. They'll call me Lauren Fills Up because I like to be filled up.
Nice.
And which is true, I do. I love it.
Cool.
So it just kind of works with who I am as a person. So I think it was just meant to be.
Nice.
And it kind of doesn't. Everyone's like, when I first started, they're like, it doesn't sound like a porn name. But if you really look in like the detail of it, I feel like it kind of does. It's just not as obvious.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like you're a real person. Some of those names are so outrageous that it's just kind of hard to, relate. So your name, how did you choose that?
This is probably TMI and my husband's gonna kill me, but so he likes his nipple played with.
And that's your husband?
My husband.
Okay.
For some reason, when we first started dating and all that, we came up with this name Sofie. And he's like, oh, lick Sophie's pussy. So that's how we came up with Sofie. Or I came up, we did. And then Marie's my middle name.
Oh, okay.
So.
And that's a long tradition of performers using their middle names from the old days. I remember a lot of that. Yeah, so there you are, Sofie Marie. So how long have you been in the business now?
Since 2011. So, yeah, nearly 10 years.
Wow, okay.
So how did you choose your name?
You know what? There's nothing exciting about it. It was a random name generator thing.
Seriously?
And yeah, it was me and my agents sitting in front of a computer looking at names, and every name that was coming up was just so incredibly bad, that it popped up and we thought of it, and it's catchy, it's youthful, but
Well, and it doesn't have the hokey, some of these names are...
Yeah, exactly. No, and that was actually my goal. I didn't want to be like Tyler, like Sledgehammer, whatever. I didn't want anyone to look at my name and be like, oh, he must, be great, look at his name. I wanted to come in average, just with no expectation.
Cool.
Like, oh, that kid Tyler.
That kid Tyler. So Indian Summer, how did you pick your name?
India Summer came about, it's really hard to think about. First, you don't imagine you're going to end up doing this, right? And then second of all, you go, how do I pick a name that's not really cheesy and over the top? So I'm kind of a fan of Eastern culture, so like Indian stuff in India. And I'm also a Doors fan.
Oh.
So, and I live in Iowa, and we all know what happens in Iowa. We have Indian summers.
Right.
So my favorite Doors song is Indian Summer.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic
Is
song.
that the Child's Fragile Eggshell Mind, or I'm trying to remember.
No, but you'll figure it
All
out.
right, I love the Doors.
It's a kind of an obscure song.
Oh.
So it's my favorite Doors song, but I didn't want to be called Indian Summer.
Right.
So I just shortened it to India Summer.
Well, you have a
It's very
distinctive
fascinating.
name, and it is not hokey.
It's not
Right.
Some of them
cheeky.
are, yeah, really
Yeah.
kind of too clever.
And I didn't want to be porn, and I didn't want to be just silly. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it's odd how you must grow into it or something,
Right.
because everyone says it's very fitting, but it's weird to pick a new name for yourself.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, so you can see how this dough,
And you just kneaded it.
I just kneaded it. You can see how it tears apart. You don't want it to tear too easily.
And
it
is
gives
that
it
the gluten that
that's-
gave that?
That's right.
Okay.
And then it gives it this kind of grainy texture. So I'm just gonna put it back together.
And
And
you
then,
didn't put any flour down or anything. You
no,
just-
no flour, because you don't want to add any
True.
dry ingredients
True.
because it's
Change
very specific. This making seitan is not an easy task. It can often end up rubbery or too dry, and so you need to. It's not like making a soup where it's like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
just throw a little bit of that in and it'll be great.
It's very
no,
specific. It's
So
very
I think I read somewhere you won the AVN Best Male Newcomer one year.
Correct, yes. I won Best Newcomer, then the next year I won Best VR Sex Scene, and then something else. I don't remember what it was.
Man, so you had success like pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But it's a lot of work. I mean, if you're like, what's a typical week like?
Oh gosh. Well, I work every single day. Sometimes it's one scene, sometimes it's two scenes.
So Tyler, it sounds like you have a nice food routine for your work. How often are you working these days?
I stay relatively busy. At least half the month. I'm turning on the stove. Do you need it on right now?
I don't.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Right.
But yeah, I stay pretty busy. But even when I'm not working, I kind of hold the same eating schedule. Yeah, I don't really change too much.
Huh.
And do you work out?
I don't, but luckily all my daily activities kind of are aerobic.
Sure.
So
Man,
yeah,
the
thank
guy
goodness
doesn't
for
work
that.
out and looks like he
I know, it's
does.
pretty amazing.
I will-
The world is not fair.
I don't know how people do it because I go to the gym and I go, everything's so heavy in here. I don't want to do this. It's crazy.
So do you have a other than sex exercise routine that you do?
Nope.
No. Okay.
It really had kept me fantastic for a long time. And as it's slowing down a little bit, yes, I'm going to have to work in something else. But I realized as much as I was doing it, it was really enough to keep me. That was
So
it.
this will be the new diet craze. Will be starvation and lots of sex.
That's what it was. It really was, and it worked.
The odd soda there. And,
Right?
yeah.
Good.
Little sustainability.
Okay. How about exercise?
Exercise. I run a lot. I played volleyball in college and did an Ironman.
Oh boy,
wow.
that's something.
Yeah, about 3.5 years ago in France.
Wow, cool.
So yeah, that was intense, long, but a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I could never do that.
Yeah.
No way. We exercise, but not that intensely.
Yeah, I like what Warren Buffett says. He says if you were given any car, your dream car, but you could only have that one car your whole life, how well would you treat that? And that's your body.
All right.
Can I try a little?
Absolutely. Here.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
As a kid, I ate meat, and this tastes like steak. It's really good.
There we go.
How long have you guys been vegan and why?
I've been vegan for maybe 15 years. And for me, it's all about health. So when my dad was 58, he had a heart attack. And my mom said to the heart doctor, so I guess he's going to have to stop eating eggs. And the doctor said to my mom, the only way that he can control his cholesterol through diet is by going vegan. And my dad said, and what is that? And she told him, and he said, and what medication will you be putting me on? Because I'm not doing that. But then my cholesterol started to creep up, and at the time I was vegetarian, and the only dairy I was eating was cheese and the occasional hard-boiled egg at Easter, and so I thought, well, I'll go vegan, and I've been able to maintain a healthy cholesterol ever since, and so it's been great.
You might want to look at those onions.
I will do that.
I'll give you my take on it. I was in my early 20s, and I wasn't really doing much exercise, and I was drinking a lot of beer and eating hamburgers, and I got pretty big. And I thought, gee, I don't really want to be like that, and I need to start exercising and thinking about what I eat. And so I dropped the red meat and then the fish and the chicken. I was still eating a lot of dairy. Then I developed a lactose intolerance, and then it was like, okay, you're just going to have to be vegan. Now, this is back in like the late 80s, and that was pretty weird at that point. But now, I mean, wow, there's like these great recipes like she's making, so it's not too hard to be vegan these days. Wow. Now, is the pressure more being a chef or being a male performer?
Honestly, there's been times in the kitchen it's been more stressful in the kitchen than it has been on the porn set, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's, they're both high stress situations for a male performer, but it's different dynamics for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So
Things get messy in both realms, so that's the common denominator.
So how did you get into the porn industry?
How did I get in? That's a multi-answer question. There's a girl I went to college with actually. She got into the adult industry and kind of met some people through her and was acclimated to the industry, met some people, and just, I realized being a chef and cooking and hospitality wasn't my thing at the time, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to jump into porn.
Literally following your passion.
Yeah, literally followed my passion.
Talk about that figuratively.
I dove in head first.
All right. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been in for a year and a half now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's been a good year.
So how did you get into doing the adult entertainment business?
Oh, well, that's a $1 million question.
We usually ask that one.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I came from mainstream. I was filming a military TV show. There was a porn star as a guest show, and she wanted to shoot content together.
Oh.
And I said, I'm a big actor. I can't do that. So we ended up making a bet. I was in the Marine Corps, betting man. And so I made a bet, and I was supposed to go shoot a commercial on an island and then go play Captain America at Comic-Con. And I said, if those two cancel, I got nothing else to do. Production had to book around my schedule, so sure, why not? And the next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, I get, my agent calls me and says, hey, I got some bad news. Both jobs got canceled.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I thought it was a landslide because they already had the plane tickets bought. So that's why I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of thought that was like the universe telling me that, well, you're going to go be a porn star.
Wow.
Well, it has worked out very well. Very well. Yeah.
So it's been an adventure since.
Yeah. And how long have you been in the industry?
Just over 3 years.
Okay. Now you're a dancer and you studied it in college, right?
Yes, I was. I guess I still am technically, but I studied dance for about 15, 16 years, and I went to college for it, and I was a backup dancer for a Tina Turner impersonator on top of being part of a modern company and a dance teacher as well. And I still kind of dance now. I started feature dancing at different strip clubs, which basically means that I do 2 dances a night for 20 minutes, and I'm like a headliner, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, sure.
So I just started that this year.
I bet you your video work, people say we can see her in person for real. That's exciting. Now, you said you played volleyball. Mm-hmm. How did you transition from that into adult entertainment?
Oh, where to start? So volleyball, went into running, and about 5 years ago started bikini modeling. So I wear itty bitty tiny bikinis. It does cover, but and fans were asking to see less
bikini.
Less, yes.
More you.
So, yeah, exactly. So I went topless, and then I started nude. So it was kind of a transition, topless, nude, and then actually my husband and I are in the lifestyle. So that was my first experience with a girl.
Oh.
Yeah. and then just had all this content that my husband was shooting, and just kind of built my own website and company, and started for shooting for other companies a couple years ago. So
10 years now. What has changed in that time? I mean, with the internet and technology, what's that been like?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. The internet has come in, so I guess it's created it's a yin and a yang type thing. I think big businesses are kind of trying to figure out what to do with the internet, but as for an individual, if you kind of have this entrepreneurial way of looking at things, there's so many avenues of making an income now.
Sure.
That you don't just have to rely on certain companies hiring you. You can kind of do it yourself. So yeah, so that's a good positive, but then the negative is kind of big companies finding a budget to do the things that they want to do and pay the rates that people expect to be paid for doing the things that they do. So, you know, yin and yang, and we're all trying to figure it out.
You came into the business in 2013, which is almost 10 years.
I know, it's crazy.
Have there things changed during that time that are important? And
Like in the industry in general, yeah, it's changed a lot. Like when I started, I did amateur pro in like Florida, and cam girls were actually, like, or cam models, I should say, were not doing a lot of porn at that time. So I cammed for 2.5 years and went into porn. It wasn't actually very popular yet. Like only a few number of girls that did that. And so like now having like the cam world and having AVN being like having co-hosts, like it has a porn star and a cam girl or a cam person, it's very different. On top of like when I first started, like, so when I moved to LA, which was like 2015, I was always responsible of like asking my talent, like, all right, what are your hard limits and like turn-ons and stuff like that. So you more communicated a little bit more to your talent, where now the company will like sit you down and they make sure that we go over it. So it's a lot more different. And then with like, you know, OnlyFans and all these platforms becoming a lot more mainstream, it's a lot like more different style and flow, I feel like.
so it sounds like you have a lot of different platforms out there. Yeah.
You can't have your eggs all in one basket.
That's right. That's right.
So when you're traveling or you're out and about, do you get recognized?
I have a few times, not very often. A couple times at the beach.
Yeah.
Probably because of my little bikinis I wear. Although I go to a nude beach. I used to. I haven't been in a while. I used to, a few years ago. I missed it. And about 6-9 months ago, I was at a gun show in Las Vegas. And some guy kept looking at me, and I'm like, why is he looking? You know, I'm kind of, and he's like, I know you from somewhere. Back to the bikini. He saw me on Malibu Strings, which is another bikini company that I used to shoot for, or still do. But and these Malibu Strings, they're not as tiny as the Wicked Weasels based out of Australia.
Oh.
So they cover a little more, you know, a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you can kind of come and go without, a lot of.
Any.
I mean, I noticed on Twitter you have like 67,000 followers. So there's a lot of people. And Instagram, are you on that too?
I am, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I get messages daily from fans. Oh, yeah. And it's, you know, I love chatting with fans. I do tend to send them to textsofie.com. It's a, you know, site where they can text me through my phone, and that way I'm not on, you know, social media all the time. So yeah, I try and, you know, connect with fans in that sense.
Sure.
But just gets a little overwhelming, I guess, at times. Sure. You know, and I don't, you know, I don't want to be rude. I don't want so. Sure. But just kind of busy for.
How about AVN? Do you go to that and meet people?
Yes, I've been. Let's see. This year was my 3rd year.
Oh. Okay.
So I walk down the red carpet. Yeah. You know, have a gown, fancy dress. Yeah. So yeah, that's fun. I get really kind of nervous Because I don't want to like trip and fall on my face. Really, that's the only reason I get nervous. But it is fun. Like everyone's like, "Hey, Sophie, stop, let me take a picture," or whatever, But it's fun. It goes by quick, and then you get to hang out for the rest of the night. I've only been to the actual show once.
Oh, okay.
The first year, I sat through the whole show, the whole 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it can be long.
I'm like, okay, next year we'll go. In the beginning, hear the opening act or whatever,
right.
and then so this year I didn't go. Yeah.
What's that like? Do people come up to you on the street and airports and?
Well, at the gym a lot.
Yeah.
And anytime I go around a military base, yeah, that seems to be a pretty common place.
And they think that's pretty cool. And
I was the Marine that became a porn star.
Yeah.
Every Marine talks about becoming a porn star, and
wow.
I guess I did it. Never intentionally was set out to go do that. It just kind of happened.
It seems though like a logical connection because Marines are so physical, and to do the kind of work that you do, you got to be in great shape and have a lot of stamina. And
yeah, I mean, we play in the same ball court, I would say.
Do you get recognized a lot when you're out and about?
Unfortunately, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I would like. I do, and I think that most people are modest, realizing that they're recognizing a porn star and be like, oh, I don't want to be the person to say, hey, I know you from jerking off. Yeah, I do that all the time, every evening, and also I'm a quiet person. I really like being to myself and in my own world, so I appreciate it when I'm recognized sometimes, but most of the time I'm like, please just
stop.
Yeah.
Now, was there a point at which you said, I'm getting into this full time, or was it more of a
After that
transitional?
year passed and things were actually picking up rather than slowing down, and I was still living in Iowa at the time, and I thought, I might as well move to LA because I'm making so many trips.
Wow.
And so then it kind of escalates from there,
So you were going from Iowa?
I still lived in Iowa. I actually kept my day job for about 2 years and would only come out and shoot every once in a while and then go back to my job.
And they never found out?
Not while I was there. They probably all know now if they're paying attention, but yeah.
So how many shoots do you do now, like a week?
Oh my gosh. At one point in time, I was shooting probably 5 to 6 times a week.
So 5
Yes,
every
6
day?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there were days, and you know what it's like when you're at work every day and sometimes 12 hours a day, you have no time to do anything else in your life, so that one day, or even 2 or 3 that you might happen to get, you have everything else in your life to do.
When you guys go out in public, do you get recognized much?
We do. I feel like he gets recognized more than I do.
Really?
Yeah. We call them mascot moments at our house because he gets recognized given his work. He's the head of a university, and so we go out and there's wherever we go, it's there's Joe Gao. It's Joe Gao. Are you Joe Gao? And actually I was led a university or a campus myself a few years back, and he would come to my town, which was 2.5 hours away from his town, and we would be running along, and on the trail we like to do that, and somebody would say, hey, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm the head of the campus. He's like, Joe Gao.
What are you gonna do?
The mascot moment.
Do you do a lot of selfies? People want to come up and...
Yeah, sometimes. When I went to a boxing event recently and I got asked, quite a few people came up to me and wanted pictures and whatnot. Yeah. We was at Universal Studios one year as well, and we were waiting in line for a ride, and I had my mum and my daughter with me as well. And it was so, and luckily my mum was holding my little girl, and then and a fan came up. It was a lady actually. She said, my husband's a big fan of yours, and I immediately looked at my mum, and she pulled her aside, and she can have a quick photo, and we said, hey, sure. I was like, quick.
Well, you know what? He's a big celebrity. I took him to a gay bar to go dancing. And everybody knew he was there.
I'm guessing since you've been in the industry for a couple of years now. Couple years. You number one, don't feel exploited. And number two, what about the men? I mean, they get paid half what you get paid.
You hit the nail on the head.
And yet, no one ever talks about them being exploited.
Right. Well, so going back to labor history, so the idea of capitalism is the employer always exploits the worker. Profit is how much more you can charge the consumer than you paid your worker, right? So
Yeah.
it's always,
Fair enough.
so it's the way that our system is set up, it is exploitative to the worker.
You know, it's
Now,
interesting that you say that because we worked with India Summer.
I love her.
She's great.
Yeah.
And she had a similar story of the first scene that she, and she was a little bit older
Yeah, she
too
started-
when she started, and she said that her first scene was a gonzo scene where they wanted her to wear a strap-on and
Strap-ons with two 18-year-old girls.
Oh.
And I went, what are these dildos with holes on the end of them? And what am I supposed to do with that? So I cried a little, or maybe a lot, and I walked away.
And she's just like, no, I'm not doing it. And that was like, and she said that was my moment to be able to say, I own what I do. And she said, had I not done that then, it would have been a problem. So that's,
Exactly.
yeah.
So the people who say, "Oh, I've been taken advantage of," it's like, in this business, no one can make you do anything. The worst they can do is be shitty to you, and you go home without a paycheck. That's the worst.
Sure.
They cannot stop you from working in this business again. They're not going to hold you there. Oh my God! The police would love to hear from a person stuck on a set calling from a closet, going, "Come get me." Oh, really? Where? It's a legal business.
Right.
No, they cannot hurt you.
There's this common theme that women are exploited, right? And that it's a horribly demeaning thing. And in fact, I just read an article in the paper this morning talking about Hugh Hefner and how he's created this culture of exploitation of women, and you know, they think that it's empowering them, but really it's not. But we never hear anything about men being exploited, and yet the men make a lot less money than the women make. So my questions is, you know, how do you feel about that whole dynamic?
It depends. Not I say not a lot less. Because like some guys are on like
Some guys are more than
$700,
some
$800,
girls.
$900. Some guys on $1,000 a shoot. A lot of girls are actually on $1,000. You know, and then it's only the girls that get a little bit better. They're on $1,200, and then you got other girls. Like, it all depends on whom.
But what about this whole philosophy of that women are being exploited, but nobody ever talks about men being exploited?
I don't feel like I'm getting exploited. I'm happy.
Look at him, he's really looks like a
it's not great.
exploited man.
Yeah.
Right, but it just seems to be
I think it's a taboo type.
I think it's a bias, because none of the women that we've ever interacted with in the business have said they felt exploited.
Have you ever felt exploited?
No, because I'm choosing to do everything. I have control. That's control over my own body and I'm consenting.
Right, and that's what we hear.
And I enjoy being a sex symbol. I enjoy, you know,
Right?
Oh, she
being
does.
sexual and sharing it with everybody. So.
Absolutely.
She loves wearing the smallest bikinis in the
Yes, I do. I like to show it off.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a beautiful thing. I think people are always curious about guys in the business. Can you have like a relationship? I mean, we're married, and you know, another woman in the life of Damon Dice.
It can be difficult, but I'm actually in a relationship, and the person I'm in the relationship with, they're also in the industry, so like
that helps.
they get it.
Yeah.
So like if I was dating, we call it like, and it kind of sounds a little weird, but like people out of the industry, if we date them, we call them civilians. So it's like they just don't understand like how it works and the dynamics, and it's just like kind of tough for them to kind of comprehend. But dating someone in the industry, they kind of get what I'm doing, and you know, I understand what they're doing. A lot of it's like, a lot of people have problems with like jealousy and kind of stuff like that. You know, you have to be open with your relationship and kind of, you know, communication. So communication is key with all relationships, especially if you're in the industry that we're in. So, you know, I understand that she's having sex with other guys, and she knows I'm having sex with girls, but it's like, you know, it's kind of a turn on. Like I like her watching her have sex. Like I watch her work, and she likes to watch me have sex with other girls.
I saw on Facebook you are now engaged. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I think it's somebody that's in the industry, correct?
Yes, Charlotte Stokely. She's a girl performer of the year, multiple years. She's been in for like 15 years.
Nice.
So she gets recognized a lot everywhere we go.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We actually met at a Save the Bees campaign. Believe it or not, yeah.
Save the bees.
Well, yeah, they're endangered.
Oh, that's right. She knows a little bit about beekeeping from experience.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, my dad
Yeah.
was a beekeeper.
Oh,
He had
wow.
up
That's
to
pretty cool.
50 hives at one point. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's a lot.
It was really cool. It actually started out as my 4-H project with one beehive, and then they swarmed. And so then the beekeeper of the area came and caught the swarm, so we had 2 hives. And then I lost interest, and my dad grew, and at one point he had like 50 hives, and it was a side business for him. It was
How often do you get together and just have sex as a couple? I mean, what?
How often do we have sex?
What? If we're working like the day?
Like
We work
how do you
together?
balance that? Because you want to have something left for each other, right?
Oh, well, he works every day.
I don't. We don't have
pretty
sex
much.
in the morning. If I'm
Not in the
working,
morning,
yeah, I
but
don't.
we'll have sex as soon as he
I
gets
do.
home.
I want. Sometimes we do, and I just don't come.
Where-
She doesn't like it.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
not good.
No,
I
he's
agree
like,
with you.
oh, you know, it makes it easier for the day. I'm like, no, fuck
does.
you.
Right? No, if you're not going to come, then I don't want to be part of
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
Right?
But
Yeah.
we usually have sex like 4 or 5 times a day.
4 or 5 times a day.
A lot.
day?
Listen, he can come in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes, like say,
No,
I'm always
if I don't
pretty
want
much always
to-
morning. So I'll say to her, come on, she'll go, no. I'll say, let's play the 2-minute game. So
I'll set a timer.
And yeah, she put the timer, and I've never not done it, right? I've never done it. I've
No,
always.
you have. Yes, you.
What, one time?
A few times.
Oh.
That's funny because he usually tries to last like at least 30 minutes.
Right? See, I think 15, 20 minutes is good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like, well, it doesn't have to be an hour, right?
And even 2 minutes, like, that's just like fast, hard rain. That's just fun.
Right.
Like, and you get to watch him come and make the funny face.
Yeah, she really likes it. She likes my cum face. Yeah.
But 5 times, that's
That's
wow. More power
In
to
a
you.
row?
Yeah.
No,
No.
not in a
Oh,
row.
okay.
No.
Twice in a row. He does twice in a row.
Yeah, I do
a lot.
twice in a row all the time. I could do like 5 times in an hour.
Wow.
Okay.
So do you any sort of personal best on this, like beyond the 5, or like your record?
Oh, the record would be 18 in 24 hours.
That, my friend,
Oh
is
my.
an impressive record.
You had mentioned that you have to leave it overnight. Is it this the part that you have to leave overnight?
Right. So no, we're gonna shape this into sausages, and then we're gonna steam it. And then once it's been steamed, the sausages need to cure overnight so that they get the right texture.
Ah, okay.
So-
Got it.
Okay.
Looks interesting.
It is, okay. So what you want to do is you want to shape it into a sausage, and it's kind of got some elasticity, so it'll want to have a tendency to pull back together. So just make it as, kind of long and narrow as you can. Okay? And if you bring it to the edge of your foil, and then you're just going to roll it up.
What? It's not very pretty.
It doesn't matter. It will get pretty in the next phase. So then you just,
Is that one?
that's perfect.
And there is that old saying, you should not watch people making sausage.
That's
So,
so once you roll it up, you're gonna twist the ends and make it like a tortilla. Okay.
Wow, this looks amazing.
And you've got a couple of bangers.
presentation.
Yeah, I know. I was
It's
about to
everything.
say, it's a bit Gordon Ramsay.
And then we'll get the gravy.
Oh, that's a good.
And here we have the vegan bangers and mash.
Wow, looks wonderful, and this has been a wonderful conversation. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
Great time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for
having us.
coming on the
Thank you.
show.
Will, it was
Go.
such a pleasure working
Oh,
with you.
it has
Thank
been
you,
a blast.
Thank
Shall
you
we
so
eat?
much. Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Let's eat.